And I don't know, just hanging out on a farm in Tennessee,
Is
Nashville.
is that where you
Yeah.
are, on a farm?
Yeah, it's like a 300-acre ranch kind of farm. They do corn on it this year. Sometimes they do soybeans, and I think I don't know, maybe 70, 80% of the land they farm. Like someone else does it, but this family's been around on this property for, I don't know, since 1800. So
How the fuck did
yeah,
you end up there?
yeah.
How are you?
I Well, Nashville, I came down here like 10, 12 years ago, made a couple really good friends, and the one good friend of mine, Tommy, he's like a kind of Renaissance guy. He's like a horse guy around here. There's a bunch of billionaire, millionaire horse farms. Like I'm in this valley where it's like this, there's like a lazy river winding through it, and it's just like lush, like 20 minutes outside the city,
Like
Nashville.
the Apple River?
Yeah.
You go out there with your case of beer.
Yeah, but it's like it's even more picturesque. It's like 40 yards, 50 yards across, and never gets like deeper than like 8 feet, and just lazy river. Yeah.
It's legitimately a
But
party river, like a inner tube party river, or is
well,
it?
yeah, people don't use it that much, but
Oh,
legitimately you can put in like at one spot and take it for 2.5 hours, and you can like come back to where you were almost like a 3, 4 minute walk or something like that.
wow.
It just winds through the valley. It's crazy.
And do you
Yeah,
have?
so that river is about like 3/4 of our border. So it's
Okay.
crazy on this property. Yeah, so
You
beautiful.
have.
So yeah, I hooked it up through my buddy Tommy like 12 years ago. He was living here and working on the property, and then I'm just kind of a house sitter, I guess,
You've
that
been
pays
down there
rent.
for 12 fucking years.
No, no, I've come back and forth. This is my third time down here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what? You go down there and you burn out and then come back, or what? Why the back
Yeah,
and forth?
pretty much. Well, pretty much. I mean, I've come down here to do music or whatever, but I mean, I really haven't done the music. Like, I haven't gotten into the scene and that kind of stuff. So the first time I came down here, I followed a girl. The second time I came down here, I
I followed a
just came to
different
live with
girl.
my boy Tommy. No, no, well, no, my guy Tommy.
Okay.
And then I came back down this time because I knew that he needed someone to live in this place, and
Uh,
and
do you
yeah,
have
so
responsibilities on the farm at all, other than breathing and
yes,
stretching?
yeah, oh yeah, 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 breathing and stretching. It's a part of my yeah, part of my rent. So I get cheaper rent. So I got to mow the yard
Okay.
during the summer, and then just do other stuff like help out in the spring and fall cleanups, and take the mom and pa to the airport. Like they travel everywhere, so like 6, 7 times a year I'm driving them from to
Really?
and from the airport. Yeah,
Like
it's
Lloyd
like a
Christmas?
35-minute drive. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It looks like utopia in your TikToks and your Instagrams and stuff. It looks like you're fucking just like you got nothing but birds and trees and all that shit around you, and you just.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. Yeah, it's really crazy. But yeah, I'm just kind of out here in the middle of nowhere though. Like I can't see anybody. Like it's I'm a third mile in from the front gate where the two houses are. So you can't. I mean, nobody sees me. So it's kind of crazy.
So how far from like the downtown scene are you?
Like 20 minutes.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And you said you don't do
So.
that? You're not really doing any of that shit?
Well, going and doing like songwriter nights, yeah, for sure. But I'm not doing it like I haven't kicked it in gear or anything like that. So
Why?
just writing songs. Why is that?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if that's my lifestyle. I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I mean, I've played in bars a lot, and so I don't know.
what
I
does
don't
that
know.
mean?
I
You
mean,
don't
I don't know if the songwriting is my
like you don't think you're good enough to make it, or you just don't enjoy it like you thought you were going to?
enjoy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I kind of thought that's what you were down there doing. I mean, just from talking to
yeah.
Dargis and stuff, and but I guess
Well,
I
and
haven't talked to you in a long time.
that's what I set out to do. But I just haven't really wanted to do it. You know, I'm doing a lot of creative stuff, but
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
just posted on Instagram that I was about to record a pod, and I wasn't sure if I should say a musician, an aspiring comedian, so I just said a former child star.
Perfect. I
You're a former
mean,
child star,
honestly,
right?
that I am a former, well, a former like, you know, 20 something star.
Yeah, you were a child star. I mean that's how I first got introduced to you. You were
Yeah.
Dan from Road Rules.
Man,
You were
I know.
famous. You were famous,
I,
right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, people recognize me, but I don't know. It really wasn't. It was like more like I was on a game show or something.
Is
It
that what
wasn't
it
like
felt like?
a celebrity. Yeah,
You didn't feel like a
yeah.
celebrity?
I mean, I just took some pictures with people, and I mean, I never felt like a celebrity. Mm-mm.
Because back then, I mean, when was that? Late 90s?
Yeah, that was
What year exactly?
98,
Was it
98,
98?
2000, 2004 was the last time I was doing it.
Oh, really? 2004 was the
Yeah,
last time you did like a challenge or
yeah,
whatever?
yep,
Do they
yeah.
ask you back to do that shit ever?
Yep, yep.
They
The
do?
first, yeah, for sure. It's totally by invite. If the first few times I had like romantic kind of things, so like that's why they want me back. Because if you're not fucking or fighting, like
Right.
they don't want you back.
Yeah, they want drama.
And back when I was on it, like it wasn't so crazy, but then like once like they came through like Jersey Shore and that kind of stuff, like it was just all about like partying in hot tubs and like just
Yeah.
hooking up, and you know what I mean, like it wasn't as crazy back then. Now
Yeah,
it's like people are getting crazy just to be crazy.
that's part of what they expect out of these guys now.
It just seems like it, I guess. I don't know.
Is that why
I
you
mean,
don't do it?
if you go back and look, it's pretty tame compared to like what.
Yeah, I haven't. I'd have to go back. Can you find that? I suppose it's on YouTube or something. I
Yeah,
remember watching when you were on and being like, "Fuck yeah," because you know how Minnesotans are. It's like anybody who does something who's from Minnesota, it's like there's an added
oh
like
yeah,
fucking. I think he's one of us.
yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah, man.
yeah, but it was. I remember watching it and being pretty like fired up because, because of Jody, we knew who you were, so we felt like we were like
Yeah,
we all knew your vibe and everything like that. And
yeah,
I think you were like you were one of the better athletes, so you competed pretty well with the challenges and shit like that. Didn't you do pretty well, if I remember correctly?
yeah. They were. I mean, most of the people weren't athletes actually. Like
Mm,
they were. There was a lot of like ripped dudes and like whatever. When I first was going there, I was kind of like, all right, fuck, I'm gonna have to go up against these guys. And they always had to do competitions and stuff that were like, I mean, fair body wise.
yeah,
You
yeah,
couldn't have like, I don't know, like a bench press contest, like because you had like guys like me, that are smaller, or like, girls going up against huge dudes and that. So you always had to do like body weight stuff where you'd have to hang from stuff, or like
right.
how many,
Endurance.
yeah, endurance kind of things that everybody, the playing field is kind of level on it. So, but yeah, so then I'd go up against these guys, and yeah, at first I was kind of intimidated, but then by like the second or third show, I was kind of like,
You kind of became the
yep,
man.
just another non-athlete.
I actually remember, Johnny Bryan. I remember we used
Yeah,
to debate whether or not you were a good athlete or not because you did
yeah,
so well. And I remember we were like, either he's going against guys who aren't that athletic or he's a fucking legit athlete. I think we'd
yeah.
go back and forth and we couldn't figure it out. But then weren't you a state champion in like football or something too? So you played sports.
I played sports. I was three sports, like all the way through: baseball, football, and
Yeah, yeah. So
hockey.
you were a
So
legit
I mean,
athlete.
I was always playing. Yeah.
And
Oh
most
yeah.
of those guys are nerds, right? I mean, sports wise, most of those guys that on those shows.
The ones that, yeah, for all the years that I went on it, like none of them like none of them were in three sports all the time playing
Right.
sports like me.
Yeah, you
They
were
might have
stuck.
played one sport or something like that, but yeah.
So what happened?
So,
So did you just decide you didn't want to do those anymore? Because now the money is I mean, the money's different now too, right? I
oh
mean, were
yeah,
you
no,
making any
like
money doing that?
they just didn't ask me back anymore. The
Well,
last one I was on, I kind of just didn't
oh,
really give them anything, and I didn't hook up
you
with
outgrew it.
anybody, and they were just
Yeah,
like,
you
because
outgrew
I'm
it.
not a fighter, you ain't gonna get me fighting anybody. So the
Yeah.
only thing I could do is be like a lover kind of guy, and I just didn't hook up or anything like that.
Would you
I
do it?
guess I don't know. They don't call me back. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
you're
hit them
too
up.
boring.
I hit them up a couple years later when I was like,
Oh, you did?
low on cash. I was like, but yeah, you talk to like the producer people or the assistants or the casting people.
Yeah.
I mean, I sent an email, or a couple, or just say, hey, hook me up, or what are we doing.
And
But
what? Nothing back?
he just didn't do it. I don't know.
I
Yeah, I mean,
feel like an OG show would be kind of sweet. I mean, I don't know if you'd get. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe
you
that time has
know,
come. I don't know.
I don't know. I think just like everybody's too old. Like, I don't know. I mean, who watches MTV?
It's true.
You know, is it like I mean, it's got to be like late teens and
Yeah.
20 somethings, right?
Well, and it's not even
So
about MTV anymore. You know what it's about? It's about the viral clips you get from this shit. That ends up being as valuable probably as the show itself. It,
probably is now if they're smart for sure. I mean, are they having like what people fighting or something, and then it just
I
goes
don't
off
watch.
on
I hear
online
about
or
it
something?
through, yeah. I don't even know why I know about it. So it must
Yeah,
get to me somehow, but I don't watch it. I don't even know where
yeah,
MTV is. I don't even have cable anymore.
yeah. I don't either. I have no clue what's going on in that channel. You know, like or I mean, I have no idea of the shows. Like
It would have been interesting though. I mean, if social media existed back then, it would have been a completely different experience for you. I bet you'd still be. It
completely,
would be your life. I bet. I mean, for some of those guys, it still is, isn't it?
probably, yeah. I've, yeah. Some of the people have parlayed it
Maybe
into
not
some
back
good
from your
stuff.
era. Yeah, maybe not back that
Well, I
quite.
mean, just a few, like,
Who's
but I mean,
that Kit chick? She's like a reporter. Um,
she was a reporter, yeah.
yeah.
My boy Theo Vaughn, he's blown up.
Oh yeah, he's
Like
got a
my
podcast. I've heard about his podcast.
yeah, he's podcast stand up. Like I mean, he's crushing it. I mean, he's doing all the podcasts with like Joe Rogan and all those guys, and like all with
He's a,
all those comedians.
yeah, he's a pretty funny dude.
I mean, he's been awesome. Like, you know, he's my guy. I watched him for like the last 15 years, and like, you know, seeing all of his stand up and how it's progressed, and like, he's just kind of gotten more into his like whole Louisiana Southern, just telling stories about back in the day kind of thing, and just kind of really owning him, like who he is or whatever. But he's blown up, and now, you know, now I mean, I was watching him 4 or 5 years ago do like you know, Mystic Lake Casino for like
Oh
a
really?
room of like 40 people,
I
you
didn't know
know,
he
and
did that.
now he's doing like 5,000, 10,000 seat theaters every weekend. So
Yeah, that's no joke. I mean, did you ever think
yeah,
about doing stand up? I mean, you're pretty. I think your TikTok shit is like laugh out loud funny,
thanks, dude.
but
Yeah,
maybe it's because I know you.
yeah,
You know what I
probably
mean?
a little bit of
But
both. Probably a
I
little bit
actually
of
don't
both.
think I follow Nick Swardson. He's pretty funny, but I actually find
Yeah,
most comedians like Dane Cook on Twitter, like he's not funny. Most
he's not
people,
funny.
not at all. Do you
Yeah.
follow who do you follow comedian wise on like social media?
Social media, I don't follow too many. Like I just watch
Comedians
the
kind of.
stand-ups like Bill Burr, and I watch my guy Theo Vaughn, and um, I mean Chappelle. You know, like I just go like to the stand-up stuff. That's my favorite stuff.
Have you ever tried?
But no, no, I've never tried stand-up. That I don't know. I've I've never really wanted to. Um, like, but I think in the last couple of years, I maybe just thought about it, and
Yeah,
like, you know, it'd be kind of cool to just go up and just
dude, it
have some
takes
material and see what it.
balls.
Yeah.
It takes
Oh,
fucking
balls.
balls.
Oh man, have you done it?
No, but when I lived in LA, it's like every night I laid in bed and like tried to psych myself up to try it. But then it was like,
Yeah.
it was like I could find 100 reasons not to do it and be like, there's nothing worse to me than a comedian who sucks, and there's nothing better than a comedian who's good. But the risk of sucking is like,
Oh,
I think I'd rather never try. I used to work the door at a place called Katana on Sunset Boulevard. I lived
yeah.
out in LA for like 4 years or whatever, and I was the door guy with a walkie-talkie and a buzz cut and a suit. A suit.
That's awesome.
And it was like, I think it was only like two doors down from the Comedy Store, which is
Yeah.
world famous or whatever. And I would
Big one.
see
Yeah.
I would see these comedians walk by me. They would, I guess, be walking from their apartment or whatever to go do a set, a 15-minute
Yeah.
set, and then they'd walk back home. And so I would see like, it was before Whitney Cummings was anybody. She would walk by me, and I remember she was like
Yeah.
kind of sexy, and I would sit there and go,
Yeah.
God, I just wish I had the
She
rocks
still
to
is
do it.
kind of
Yeah, she is.
sexy.
Yeah, she is. But I wish I had the rocks to do it, and I never did. I think it'd be amazing just
Yeah.
to even fail at it and say you tried it. But I always admire anybody who could get up there and do it. But how
Oh,
does it
dude, like
translate? How do you translate from a funny TikTok? Because your shit is legitimately funny. I would tell you if I didn't
yeah.
think it was, or I wouldn't say anything. But how does that translate to being funny on stage, man? That's fucking tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like I have the utmost respect for anybody in the entertainment world. Like the stand-up comedians, what they do is just badass. And when then they come to and you know they make it big or they do the movies or whatever, they're always the best. They're always just the coolest because
Yeah.
they've just like they've been in the trenches for years and years and years. You know, like just straight up. I'm gonna say some stuff and how are you guys going to react? Making somebody laugh is hard to do.
Yeah, well, it's in
Yeah.
this culture, like the PC culture, it's different than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I was listening to Bill
Yeah.
Burr talk about that, I think probably on Rogan or something, and it's like
Yeah.
to
Well,
go
that's
up
part of
there
his stand-up. Yeah.
and
Too.
it's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. But I mean, you
Yeah.
offend people now and it's like it's career suicide. So it's like, can you
Yeah.
really be funny and go up there and do some PC shit? Like, I mean, you can't. Like it's hard. It's hard to pull it off. And I mean, Burr's
No.
established, but I don't know how you'd come
Yeah.
up. I don't know how you'd come up and be a comedian unless you're just, I don't know, who's a good young comedian. I mean, Swartzen's not young. He's,
No.
by the way, from
No.
Minnesota, but he's 40 something. Are there any good?
Yeah.
What's
Well,
his name?
young, I don't know about young. I think that, like, PC, there's definitely some people that have material out there that, like, it is, under the guy or under the umbrella of PC. But, like the comedians that are anything that are good, they're just the most real, like, the most, that's where comedians to me are, and the whole, and so, like a Bill Burr guy, like that guy, that's just that's him up there, like that
Yeah.
is all of his stuff. And I think that, like the whole PC thing, yeah, you're right. Like
I
it's
think it'd be
gotten more
tough.
PC, but or not PC thing, but the people saying stuff about it, or that as that, like being a comedian and you just get roasted. Well, it's because of social media being out there and everybody can have an instant opinion about it.
Right.
And it sits there and it's written out and you can just look at it and talk about it and you'd be pissed 3 years later about it.
Right.
But people just need to fucking chill out and need to realize that it's like watching a movie, like you can't be pissed at anything they say. You know what I mean? Like you're going for entertainment, you're going to watch this person or you're going to listen to what they're saying. And it's just like watching a movie. Like, like you can't, it's the same. It's entertainment. Like some of it's real, some of it's not real, but you can't be like pissed at someone for their political satire in one of their sets. I don't think, because it's basically like, then what are you going to do? Like you can see some of the worst shit possible in movies. You have some of
Right.
the worst people possible. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, there's something about
from
that format though, where it's like people are willing to, they're willing to suspend their disbelief or suspend their, I don't even know how you'd phrase it, but it's like, since it's in
yeah,
that context, you can
totally.
have just a racist fucking. Oh, and by the way, they always paint the people that are, I shouldn't say always, but a lot of times in film, they paint the people that are sort of like gratuitously evil as bad guys. They're rarely the
Yeah,
heroes. So
yeah,
it's easier to be on the right side of things. But when a Bill Burr goes up there and he says that we shouldn't necessarily be saluting, military workers who don't actually fight in combat and stop calling them
yeah,
heroes. I mean, dude,
yeah,
there's a lot of truth in that, but it's like,
yeah,
do you have balls to say that on stage? I mean, I don't think I do. I worry about I don't know. I worry about what my fucking mom thinks or something. I just think it's amazing when comedians can do that and just
just go for
go
it.
all the yeah, just go for it. And by the way, that's probably the key to being successful if you don't give a fuck about what people think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it is. It really is, and but that doesn't mean like you're gonna go out there and like, just have shit coming out of your mouth and just like controversial shit, That's the same for being just real,
Kiss
like
Clay.
being vulnerable and just saying everything, like, it might be really, vulgar, or it might be really, politically incorrect or something, or you could be like the sweetest person on earth. But if you like get down to like the vulnerable, real stuff, it's just a transfer of energy, like
Right.
any
Right.
any kind of deal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me,
Yeah.
it's if you can get up there and do that, I'm jealous of those people. Do you write jokes? Like you're by yourself with your two dogs that I know
Yeah.
from
Oh
social
yeah.
media. What are their
Yeah.
names?
I got little Sergio's the 5 pound Chihuahua, and then Buddy Boy's the lab mix. He's like 8 years old, 9 years old.
So do
So
you three
yeah.
sit around and write jokes, or you just
Oh
you?
man. Yeah. No, I mean I don't write jokes. No, I don't write jokes. I
So you'd never
think
be a stand-up then, because you got to write jokes to be a stand-up.
yeah,
You,
for sure. I mean, I don't know. It's like going up and performing. It's like, I don't know, learning a song or a cover song to go and perform in front of people would be kind of the same thing, Like I'm just going for a different, instead of a laugh, I'm going for, getting people to clap or feel it.
Would you ever incorporate your music into jokes like Sandler used to do, or I don't know who else? Jimmy Fallon was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really written like funny songs or like, tried to do that. But yeah, I would. I don't know. I just got to write more songs is my problem. So
What is it that you want to do when you grow up?
yeah, right. Um, Honestly, I've whittled it down to a little bit more, nothing more than I just want to kind of promote positivity kind of every day with people and help people out in terms of um, a big thing for me is like that whole breathing, stretching thing
Yeah,
and
what is that?
posture and the breathing, stretching. I originally just wanted to do videos that was something that I could do that was just wildly positive, and I actually wanted to just get my mom stretching. So
Is that
like
is that
because
really is that really
yeah,
what it was?
yeah, like I was like I kept trying to like get her to like
You
stretch
wanted to
out
get
and
your
whatever.
mom to breathe.
Yeah, yeah.
You're fucking with me.
No, that's
There's
really
no
why I
way.
started doing it because she wouldn't like. I'd tell her all the time, or I mean, I don't live in the same place as her anymore, but I'd be like around her and I'd be like, "Let's do this," and she would never do it. So, and that's years of me trying to get her to just breathe and stretch with me, And but then I decided to put it on Facebook because I thought that might like pressure like her friends and stuff and her sisters seeing it. Didn't work, but she's done it a couple times.
Oh,
But
has
I
she?
think she watches it and I think she'll breathe. But I wanted to do like the most simple thing that anybody could do,
Sure.
and just a break, just like a
Well, I
you
couldn't
know,
tell. I hadn't seen you in a long time, and I don't remember. I must have just looked at your Facebook or something, and
yeah,
maybe Geeves or somebody told me to check it, or Dargis or something. And
yeah.
at first, I thought you were joking, but then I was like, he's not breaking character. This is either like an
Uh-uh.
unbelievable commitment to character, like Ali G style,
Yeah,
or
what a
like is this
boring character to come up with.
or not though,
Like that's how I bust out of my acting career.
or not though. Like your commitment.
Heartfelt.
I literally watched probably, I don't know. I mean, I didn't watch the whole video, but I probably
No.
cycled through a dozen days before I was like, I don't think he's fucking around, but maybe he still is fucking around. Like you literally got up almost every day, right? And set the camera up.
I mean, yeah, I did it for like 2-3 days and I'd put it down for a week or something and
Yeah, but
do that.
it was
Yeah.
pretty consistent over a period of time.
Yeah.
It was performance art.
It was. It
Yeah.
is performance art. I
Yes.
mean, you
It's a
got it
comedy.
right, dude.
It's a comedy bit, right?
It is.
Okay.
No, I mean now I honestly I'm glad that's really awesome that you like that makes me so happy. Like I mean I did this to like have people do it and breathe and stretch with me because it's just positive and like it might make people's day better. But like the energy that people return back to me is like ultimate, whether it's them saying that they did it or making fun of me for doing it or like your reaction's hilarious, dude. Like that was like it took you through a whole
I
thing.
still don't know what to believe.
It took you through a whole thing.
I don't know what to
I
believe.
want you to I want you to believe that it's all a bit, and I want you to tell everybody that it's a bit.
Yeah,
It's
it might
way
be
better. It's way better.
it might be one of the funniest bits I've ever seen. I'm still not convinced it is. It didn't change your mom's body or lifestyle, but it made me
No, it
laugh.
did not at all. It did
Did
not
you
at
really
all.
get feedback from people?
Yeah, I get people for sure. I mean, I do it live feed, so I mean, people are comment while I do it. But yeah, I mean, so, people that I work with, or whenever I see people, I have people give me the whole breathe and stretch thing. Most people are totally positive, some people give me shit. Like Dargis, he gave me shit for it. He sent me a video of his kids playing in the front yard. And he's like, "Oh, I just think I'll get a breathe and stretch situation in here," and he like did this whole like walking around like a velociraptor.
I'm just glad Dargis still talks to me. He's too fucking successful now.
You know
The
what?
fact that he still wants to be friends with me, I'm pretty flattered by that.
God, I know. Well, I mean, just like for the Christmas gifts alone, it's worth it, dude. So
He
you
doesn't
should
give
just
me,
like
he
stick
doesn't give me Christmas gifts.
around.
What the fuck? Does he give you bottles of whiskey or something? Really high-end bottles of liquor, I bet.
No, but like when I'm over there, he makes me drink them. Yeah.
So
I can't drink liquor anymore though.
you can't?
No, it's like
Too old to
tears me up too
metabolize it?
much. I think so. I mean, I think just like, just drinking like for, 15 years, on and off, like whatever. I think my liver is just kind of like, nah, I can have some light beers now, but if I have like a shot of whiskey or
Really?
like a
One shot?
mixed drink, like it just like I get the worst. It's like alcohol poisoning hangovers till like 6 the next day,
That's
like
fucked
for
up. Man,
one shot,
I know what
like I,
yeah, I don't get it from that, but I know what you're saying. I
yeah,
mean, your body
yeah,
changes. Do you, are you,
yeah,
are
yeah.
you a weed guy or anything? Do you do anything?
Well, yeah, I'll smoke some dope, like just like,
Sitting
yeah.
around?
Yeah, I mean, and I go on and off. Like this past year, I went like 2, 3 months being totally sober. I've done that like 2, 3 times this year, and just get away from it all and not, just kind of get a clear head.
Do you like being sober better? I don't know that I do. I've tried it. I don't
It's
know that
funny
I do.
it's funny you asked that. Well, I don't like like going through it, but I like the I feel better about myself, like when I'm sober, like
Psychologically.
I'm kind of psychologically for sure. Like, so I like it better, like it's kind of, you gotta like, like I said, I kind of went sober for a while and then I kind of came back to having some beers at night and like, um, you know, uh, what am I trying to say? Yeah, you just feel better about yourself.
But
So
isn't that conditioning kind of? That's what I've tried. I've
it
kind of like
is, yeah.
I've
Well,
doubled
yeah.
back on it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was trying to say. Like, you just have to. I mean, you got to fucking deal with your emotions and shit, And so it's like, and my thoughts. I've had like this past like 2, 3 months. I've had crazily wild. My thoughts have just been going everywhere, wildly creative, and really positive actually. And it's been. I've kind of had to ride this wave of like, is this like anxious negative energy or is this like a fucking fire? Like, do I
What do
need
you mean?
to learn how to control this? Like this is what I want. That's energy. Like, that nervous, like, getting on stage kind of feeling that pit in your stomach. Like, I'm starting to realize and starting to view it more as like,
A
I'm not
positive?
nervous. Yeah. Like, try if you're ever in that, like someone was saying, like, you know, keep just saying, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. Not I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I'm negative on this. I'm
That's
excited
interesting.
for it. Because that energy is fucking so much. You know what I mean? It's so much. When you get like stage fright or you like have that, it's like this pit in your stomach and but but you're up. I mean, you could not take a nap if you tried like during
Right. It's
those
almost it's
moments.
almost like a mania. I know what you're saying
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
person, but
yeah.
harnessing it is the kind of the skill, right?
Yeah, you gotta ride
So,
the wave and keep breathing through it. Like don't get nervous. This isn't bad. This is all right. Let's go. Keep
so
it
what do you do then?
relaxed and
What do
go.
you, when it's pouring out of you? Are you
Well,
right?
yeah. So what'd you say,
Are you
pornography?
no no when it's pouring out of you?
Oh
When it's
yeah, yeah.
are
Well,
you
that's what I'm
writing? Are
saying.
you I mean you're saying you're getting this sitting in your apartment, or you're saying
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah. Like when when I've been sober, like the energy and starts to flow, and like my thoughts are going more, and I'm breathing and stretching and just really getting flexible and like really like my circulation is just on fire. So yeah, like extra energy. And this last time where I was like, God, I gotta go get some beer, and I hadn't drank for like 2, 3 months or whatever, and like I was just like I needed to stop all these thoughts and all this. Like, it's like too much, but it was all good. It wasn't bad,
what
So,
kind of help me understand what you're saying though? Like creatively, is it jokes?
create,
Is it
yeah,
music? Is it
yes,
like
yep.
texting
Jokes, music,
ex-girlfriends?
ideas. No, not so much that. Like, what? No, just creative stuff. Just creative. I mean, maybe text the ex-girlfriend like something funny or
Yeah. Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever.
See if she still
Not like
thinks you're funny.
yeah, yeah. Like test out my material. No,
Make sure
so
her
yeah,
husband's asleep before you text her.
yeah. I know that is the weird part. Like you're like Facebook and people that
Yeah.
like are married and that kind of stuff. It's like what's that? I don't know if that's you know is that like in some instances you just kind of feel weird about it. In
Well, yeah, even
others
if it's
you're like
innocent, you're like,
it's not
oh,
that
this
big.
might
Yeah. Oh, it's yeah.
yeah, it might
Always.
land
I'm an innocent
differently.
guy. I would
Yeah, yeah.
never. Like I err on the side of like being totally like don't talk to this person if if it's like an issue with
Of
somebody
course.
or
Of
whatever.
course. I have a
But
question for
yeah,
you about creativity. I had this conversation with
yeah,
some, so I've recorded a couple of these, the idea of, I
yeah,
don't know, just trying to figure out if it's, I know it's fun to do. I'm just trying to figure out if it's something I want to keep doing or if there's a way to make
yeah,
money doing it or whatever. But I had this
yeah,
conversation about creativity and as it relates to like Facebook or social media, in
yeah,
your case, let's say Instagram or TikTok. And I feel like in a way, social media has kept me from pursuing like a creative life
yeah,
as a career because it's like I get to like barf up these like let's say I get a creative idea. I just barf it up on Facebook in a fucking little one-liner and
yeah,
then I scratch that itch. Whereas 20
yeah,
years ago, it would have gone into like a fucking creative diary, or maybe it would have
yeah,
become part of a screenplay or some other way to monetize it. Instead, now it's like I'm masturbating all the time, my creativity
yeah,
out versus
yeah,
building up to a love scene where I get
yeah,
paid. Does that
yeah.
do you find that like social media helps your creative process, or is it a way of actually releasing the valve and then you never actually do anything other than just burp up TikToks every 3 days that are fucking super funny, but
Yeah,
TikTok's making money off your content, not you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
uh,
Is that it,
yeah.
like to me that in a way social media has been a huge detriment to the creative world in that way. I don't know if I'm
I
explaining that very well, but you understand what I'm saying?
well, I don't think I mean I think it's more of how it's a more personal thing how you use it. Like, like I'm kind of the same way you're talking about, like where it like but if you use it as your creative media, that I mean that you just pump a bunch of content out and like you're not like thinking about like what it's going to be, or use it as like it's your art, it's your whatever, like it can make your creativity flourish. That's actually what the TikTok videos have done for me. Like I'm starting to make stuff, just unadulterated, not thinking. Yeah, I mean, I look at the views like anybody else does, like I want something to blow up, but like I'm doing that shit like like because it's enjoyable, like, and it's like that's sparking all this creativity in me, making me write songs more, making me do stuff more, and it's because I'm
But is it
just kind of letting
energy
go.
is it energy you would maybe put into fucking writing an album if you didn't have an outlet that was so simple and easy and so plug and
Yeah.
play? That's what I always wonder. I mean, there's no way
uh,
necessarily to measure it, but I sort of feel that way sometimes. Like, if I'm
I think,
always
well, I mean, I feel like, I mean, you're like your personality and like your creativity is awesome to me. Like you have a lot of that in you. And like, yeah, I mean, if the one video and the one liner a couple times a week, like makes it so you don't have the need to like go create in other aspects, then I don't think it's like you're wasting it. I think that that's probably just what you want to do or not want to
oh,
do.
there's no doubt
You
about
know?
it that I want to do
Yeah.
it, but sometimes I wish
Yeah.
I maybe had the patience. Like
Yeah.
it's like I get excited about what I think's a really witty idea, and I just
Yeah.
burp it up in Facebook, and I get fucking 27 likes, and it's
Yeah.
like that idea lives and dies in that 18-minute span. And I sometimes think, God, if it was like 1985 and I
Yeah.
had a really good idea, maybe I would make it part of a character.
Keep it going
I
and
don't know, and
yeah,
then do a
develop the
screenplay.
story. Yeah.
I've never made a
Well, dude,
dime.
you're talking about content. You're talking about all that. Like, I mean, I'm watching Gary V, like all of his stuff right now, and he gets to be a little much, whatever. But he's really hitting all this like
Who's Gary V?
kindness and just put what's that?
Who's
Gary
Gary V?
Vaynerchuk.
I
You
don't
don't
know who that
remember
is.
Gary Vaynerchuk? You got to check him out. I mean,
Who is he?
he's a guy that came up in like 2005, 6, 7. I don't know his whole story. He's an entrepreneur, business guy, and he got in early. Like he made a name for himself, like in a bunch of online shops. He's a hustler, wheeler, dealer kind of guy out of New Jersey or New York or whatever. And but he got in early with like Twitter and like put in on I think like in some of the early, big social media whatever's right now, and he has like an online wine store. He's just an overall entrepreneur guy, but he's
Sounds
really like
awesome.
outspoken, real brash, just like throws f bombs, and he's in New York,
Where do you
like
find him at?
whatever
Like
mental.
YouTube videos or social media
Oh
or where?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Gary Vaynerchuk. He goes by Gary V, V E E, and He's awesome. He's doing Facebook every morning, weekday mornings. I think it's like 8 or 9 Eastern, and he's doing just calling in to and doing what we're doing, and he's really like just all about like you just got to start pumping out the content, be the most authentic, real self, real person that you can be. Like go just crazy on your authentic self, like, and like that you're talking about, putting out your posts and whatever, but like, and just like me, like you don't put out the content and keep, like doing it more and making like these kind of big planned out things, because you
Right.
talk about you want to monetize whatever you're doing,
Well, it'd be
but you
nice to make a
gotta,
living. It'd be cool to make a living being
yeah,
creative.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
think that's what every
yeah,
musician, comedian, actor, I
hmm
mean, fuck, the idea of not just having to race home and do creative shit after your day job
yeah,
would be the ultimate. I don't even care about getting rich. I just would like to be able to
yeah,
do it for a living and
yeah.
pay my bills.
Yeah, you
But
gotta
it's
talk, you gotta watch this guy. Like that's what he's all about. Just find your overall happiness. If you have a shit job or like, make your money and do that for 6, 7 years, whatever, but then every night come home and work on what your passion is or what it is. And and he wants you to use social media. Like he's just like all about the TikTok. He's all about just pumping content out there because it's like no bad content and just get people involved with your story. you know the stories that you create, the creativity that you put out there would be amazing, but then just the fact of you like putting your story out there and then gaining followers, and like the real way to gain followers as opposed to like trying to just like
be a politician.
one off sell them on something, or get them to like one of your videos. You got to like build the following and build the reputation, and like people will people will follow your story if your story is authentic and you keep coming at them with it,
Right.
because your personality would blow up. Like like there's a thousand people or 500,000 people or a million people out there that would like be all about your story and the stuff that you create and whatever. I mean, I know that for a fact, just knowing you, like the stuff you come up with,
Is that what you're trying
But
to do with
yeah,
your
for sure. For sure. I don't know how I'm doing it yet and where I want. I mean, yeah, I want to, because I want to put stuff out there that's really positive. Like I said, breathing and stretching. I'm all about people's posture and, just their focus in the days of like really trying to, alleviate pain. Everybody's walking around with either lower back pain or they got pain in their knees or, and, they're walking around like this all the time. Like you got, like, and people are always like letting gravity just act on them all day long. And they're like, well, why do I have this pain? And I'm like, well, there's some shit you could do, like it's not, it's, I like want to help people. So there's like a big part of me that does that. And that's like me, like I'm always just like doing stupid stretches and like yoga kind of stuff, I
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna
guess.
say, are
Like
you a yoga guy?
I do that. Well, I took a couple classes of yoga like I don't know 15 years ago and just kind of learned what it was about, and then now I just do it on my own. I'm seriously just breathing and stretching at night, like standing on one leg and like doing lunges and like just like I don't know if you've seen any of I put a video up that's like I use those stretch bands, those I
On the
don't know,
tick
those
when you
workout
dance,
bands.
the
Yeah, did
TikTok.
you see
Yeah,
that? Yeah, you saw
yeah,
that one. Yeah,
yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, like using that kind of stuff, like stand on one leg with your knee bent and like just trying to come up with really efficient moves that everybody can do. That's like helps their posture because you know
My
everybody's
sister, my
yeah.
sister was
Go
an
ahead.
early yogi. She has yoga
Yeah.
studios. She
Oh,
has
she
a
does.
place in Stillwater, and she's got
Yeah.
another one in where's the other one? White Bear Lake. And now they, with this quarantine
Yeah.
shit and whatnot, they've had to close down, so they're
Yeah.
doing online stuff. And
Online stuff. Yeah.
yeah, she's a big proponent of that stuff. And I've taken a few classes. I mean, you're
Yeah.
100% correct. There is something that happens to your body when you do that stuff, and if you do it consistently, you stick with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll
It's simple. It's simple. It's like your body loves oxygen. Every cell in your whole body loves oxygen. And when you stretch out and you breathe deeper, you get way more oxygen, and like flexibility equals circulation equals more oxygen. So if you sat here right now and like did like 10 huge big breaths, and like you would actually change the chemistry of your body. You'd be putting more O2 into you. You know, like rich people pump that shit into their houses. You know, like athletes, they use it to recover faster. You know, like, and it's like,
You're starting to sound kind of like a guru, like a.
well, I kind of am a little bit in a lot of this kind of stuff. Like, I've been following like Wim Hof. I don't know if you know about this guy.
Uh-uh.
You got to check this dude out. He's this dude from Amsterdam, or one of those Dutch countries, whatever. Um, and he's like breaking records of like, he's like taking people. They call him Iceman. He hangs out in like, he'll submerge himself entirely in ice, like a cooler, and have his arm outside, like for them to, like these
High five?
scientists to hook him up. Yeah, high fives and hooking him up. Yeah, exactly. And so they'll do these tests on him, and through breathing, and his mind, he can raise his core temperature in that environment. And
Okay.
he's like doing like crazy stuff, like taking people to the top of like Mount Kilimanjaro, like people like you and me, people that are 60, 70 with asthma. They have no shirts on, and they just go up in shorts and hiking boots and no previous like hiking whatever, and they're doing it in record time, and they're all going up without fucking shirts on. He's climbed Mount Everest, no fucking shirt on. Like,
So you're
crazy,
talking
dude.
you're talking about like a level of mental toughness that our society has gone the exact other way in the
Yes,
last 20 years.
you just got exactly what it's all about. Like, yeah, mental toughness that's centered on your breath and being able to like fight your they call it the reptilian mind, or like, you know, your fight or flight mind, like that kind of
Hmm.
thing. And when you go to your breath in those times of, he uses cold to like make his mind tough. So he'll put himself, and he'll be out in the cold. And if you sit there and do these deep breathing techniques while you do it, your body like charges up and like heats itself. It's crazy, man. It's
How did
crazy
you how
shit.
did you how did you first get exposed to this sort of stuff? I mean, who sent you down this
Just
path?
breathing and stretching, and no, you know, like
Yeah, but
kind of
somebody must have
searching for.
inspired you. Somebody inspired you. I mean, other than just wanting to get your mom to breathe and stretch. You
Yeah,
must have
right.
been. Was there a book or something you read?
No, man, I
Really?
really came to my stretching or whatever on kind of on my own terms. Like, I don't know, like my early 20s when I got out of college, and I started just, I kind of got rid of all my sports except for golf. You know, all the sports just kind of faded away, and I started playing music. And but the stretching, I've just always like tried to figure that shit out. Like, kind of, I'm always just trying to make symmetry in my body
Are you a
and fix my posture. And,
are you a spiritual guy, a religious guy? Is this an extension of that at all, or is it completely separate?
mm, yeah, because yeah, I'm like, I don't know what you'd call it, like a naturalist. Like, my religion is like, I see the beauty and the perfection of the world around me, and that kind of lets me know that there's something there, that's a force that's like perfect, that's out
Hmm.
there, you know, that's like a reason for living. That's what I kind of believe in. So yeah, so like my body and my posture and my breathing, it all is with like the nature, and the fact that everything that's out there is made up of the same shit that I'm made up of.
Right.
So yeah. So yeah, that's my spirituality for
Try to
sure.
be in harmony, kind of, with the world
Well,
around
yeah,
you.
I mean, it's all systems, you know, like everything that's out there, like, you know, like the water cycle, the nitrogen cycle, everything like that. Like, it's all just this like, you know, recycling and this like balance. Everything pretty much trying to get to the middle of the pH scale,
Right.
you know.
Do you
So you
meditate?
make I mean, I breathe and stretch, you
Yeah, that
know.
is
So yeah,
meditation,
and
right?
when I go to breathing, there's a definitely meditative components to it all the time. You know, just the focus on your breath so that you're living in the moment, forgetting your past
Yeah, that's what
and
that
not thinking
does.
about the future. Yeah.
Yeah, when you know when you and I'm not anywhere near the level you are with this, but when I've tried
Yeah.
to do this sort of experimentally, when
Yeah.
you focus on your breath, you actually it's like you bring your brain back inside your body,
Yeah.
as opposed to being, I don't know, in the fucking Metrodome in 1987 or something, thinking about
Yeah.
Kirby, or you start to realize
Yeah.
that your brain literally not literally, it figuratively lives outside of you 100% of the time unless you consciously
Yes.
bring it back in.
Yes.
And when you do bring it in and you sit in that state for as
Yeah.
long as you can hold it, and it's hard to hold
Mhm.
it
It
because
is.
I think thoughts are like junkyard dogs, right? They're always trying to
Yep.
get out of the fucking chain link fence. But if you
Yep.
find a way to hold it inside there, there's like a very what's the word? It's like exhilarating,
Yeah.
or it's eye opening. It's enlightening.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
It's
It's
enlightening,
enlightening for sure.
but I can't hold it that long. It's like it wants to get out. You know, like thoughts you have. Like, you ever think about yourself dying? If I ever try to think about myself dying,
Hmm.
it's an abstract thought, but for a millisecond, I can process the concept on a real level. But it's like a millisecond, and then my brain
Yeah.
does some shit to make sure I don't have to process it. To
Hmm.
me, the breathing and getting myself centered is the same kind of concept, in that I can only hold it for just short periods of time. And maybe it's something you get better at the more you do it.
By far, by far, if you like, I said, for 1 week, I said, breathe for 30 seconds every night in a meditative quality and try to think about and feel what it is like, the air going in and out, and be in thinking about each breath. So 30
Mm-hmm.
times you got to think about each breath.
Right.
Okay. You would do it, and like by the third or fourth night, you would notice that you would like go 5 or 6 breaths to begin with, and then maybe you could go 12. I mean, it happens really fast though. Like, it's like,
Can you eventually live in that state, or is that outlandish?
well, no, no. I mean, you just kind of live there longer and easier because your mind starts to realize what you're trying to do. It's like your mind.
Works with you
I
after a while, then? It stops
Well,
fighting you?
yeah, it's like well, when you start learning stuff, I always think about the brain as a CPU. You're making the program. The more you focus on something, the more that program gets hammered in there. But then the more you focus on something, or come back to your breath in this case, the more you do that in a day, then your brain is going to like work while you're not thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
because the next day it's there more without you trying. It's like you got to you set those programs in motion. But our programs are so set to worry about everything that's outside of us, like you said, like
You're
everything
right.
that we have no control over. The past, which we
Mm-hmm.
definitely don't have any control over, and the future, which like we have like
Some control
about
over,
a
but yeah.
0.5%, but and but like mostly it's the future, thinking about other people or what you can't control at all.
Right.
But but you start to realize that this, and your thoughts and your actual body, are the two things that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you spend your days in, like, just percentage wise, if you're loving yourself and you're spending your days inside here, thinking about your breath, being in the moment, not worrying about out here, the happier you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't lie to your mind and your heart. Like, they know you're doing well for yourself. So it's like this whole snowball effect of positivity, because
I think
our
there's like an
brains.
old I think there's an old monk like saying that is something along the lines of being where your brain is the actual true enlightenment, as opposed to, you know, I've heard
Yeah.
another saying where, like, people who obsess about the future are usually real anxious.
Oh
People
yeah.
who obsess
It's
about
a
the past are
futile.
depressed, right?
Yeah.
Depression is people who look back, anxiety
Yeah.
is people who look forward, and the goal
Yeah.
is to be, sort of right here. But then you got to be comfortable with who you are too, because if you spend time here, then you got to deal with some of the shit that you're maybe avoiding by not being here.
Yeah.
Whether it's I don't know, your body, what state your body's in, or what state your career's in, or what state your finances are in, or what state your relationship with people. I mean, you have to deal with that shit if you're here. You don't have to deal with that shit if you're out front, and you don't have to deal with it if you're behind you, looking back at how fucking good you were at football in high school or something. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, there's a
Well,
lot of that.
that's forward and back, but in the moment, dealing with all that stuff, that's still like trying to control things you can't control, like that's what I'm saying. The focus has to be different because it's like,
But maybe
because it's just as futile in the moment to be thinking about those like things you just rattled off so much. It's just as futile to be thinking about the past or the future or
totally,
whatever,
totally. It's
you
easy to
know?
know that. It's easy to know that objectively when you talk about it, but to
Yeah,
actually to
yeah,
practice that,
yeah.
and it's, I mean, you
So
find
the trick for me, the trick is to whatever your problem is or whatever moment of the day it is, like if you want to like get down to focus on something that you love or want for your life, go to the breath. If you're having frustrations, go to your breath. Try and get into that state where you are breathing and noticing it. And you can multitask noticing your breath. You can come in and out of it if you start to do it pretty good. Like you can do a bunch of stuff, like especially when I'm serving tables or bartending, and I'm like, I'll be like, oh, go to your breath, and I'll take like 5 or 6 good deep breaths where I'm in the breath and I feel them, whatever, and then my next hour just kind of floats by.
mm,
Like it's like my mind just kind of resets. And like when you go to the breath, it's like restarting your computer. It's like all the programs kind of just you exit out of all the programs
Control
and
Alt
you turn it
Delete.
back on, and you can, when you turn it back on, like none of those programs are running anymore, and you can click on which one you want to go. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I've always,
But
pod. One of the reasons I've always been a proponent of pod is that kind of
mhm,
takes me there. It allows me to like, it allows me to be really conscious of
yeah.
things like my breath or chewing, or, I mean,
Hmm.
you can go too far and become like paranoid of those things.
Paranoid for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But I've always thought that marijuana was a cheat in a way that helped me get there. You find that it does that for you, or no?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, you hear things better and things just, yeah,
I feel inside myself when I'm high.
yeah, yeah, it would definitely get you to a point where it's more along the lines of what we're talking about. But yeah,
You know what's funny?
100%.
My wife, she was married before she met me and divorced, obviously. But her ex-husband, who's the father of my stepson,
Hmm.
was diagnosed with brain cancer about a year ago. And
Hmm.
one of the things he's been doing, and I don't have a close relationship with him, I'm just hearing this through my stepson and stuff. But one of the things he's doing is he had surgery to have it removed, and they got all of it. But one of the things he's doing for his rehab is holding his breath and
Hmm.
practice holding his breath to the point where I think he's up to like the 5 minute mark or 4.5 minute
Hmm.
mark. And I did a little Googling on it, and it's one of those things where it's there's a lot of gray area about the benefits.
Yeah.
They think that actually holding your breath will regenerate some brain function and
Hmm.
create like there's a very healthy byproduct of being able to hold your breath for an extended period of time, which I know is not exactly what you're saying, but you kind of made me think just the
Yeah.
idea of what your breath means. We take it for granted, right? Is there anything we take more for granted than breathing? I mean,
No,
nothing.
man. It's the first thing you ever did. It'll be the last thing you ever did. And, it's like, it's the key. Like, it
We're
really is.
like
Oxygen is like love is, it really is. Like, the more, I don't know, because the
maybe
more,
our heart beating's right
what's
up
that?
there. Our heart beating and
Yeah.
our breathing probably. And I
Yeah.
took Kevin Garnett for granted when we had him because I didn't. But those three
The three
things.
biggies.
It's true. It's true though. How about what
Awesome.
about this? So I was pretty stoned last night when I messaged you, but the
Yeah.
idea of you doing a podcast in that state of being high, where my best
Yeah.
ideas are always born in the fertile
Yeah.
soil of being stoned. The idea of you doing a podcast, I was like,
Yeah.
fucking hey, that seems obvious to me. That's why I asked you, what if we called it
Yeah.
like breathing and stretching, and you could make it whatever the fuck you want to make it. And I don't know if that means you have people on that you would talk to about it, or if you would just do sermons on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, no, I'm already with you on it. I mean, I hadn't really wasn't thinking podcast. I mean, I want to do like my YouTube channel with all that stuff and just put out like that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Do you have
podcast,
a YouTube channel
like
already?
I do, but I don't have it. I just
What do
have
you
a few
call
of the
what
videos up there. It's
what
just Danny Setz. Everything's under Danny Setz.
Your music, everything is under Danny Setz.
Just, well, all my handles are Danny Setz.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
Yep.
would you? I mean, don't you think breathing and stretching would be kind of catchy and fucking? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely. Well, I'm all about it. Like, I want to just start putting out content, and I want to do it, whether it's the 2-second TikTok or a podcast
Right.
or, I mean, I have ideas. I want to put up on my YouTube channel, like my posture kind of fundamentals and my breathing fundamentals. And then also like even like guided meditations, like just to make it easy on people to just like go to the YouTube channel and you could just watch you could just listen to a 5-minute video and we could do meditation, or I would just take you through it so you don't have to even think about it. I'd keep you on the breath. And I'd also.
What does that mean? What does that mean? You set the
Well,
pace.
well, I keep you in the breath because you were saying how, when you're you're in meditating and you're trying to, but you
Yeah.
always come out of,
So how
you
would you
come
do
out of
that
it
though?
and, well, because you would just be sitting here listening to me
Okay.
and we would say, okay, we're going to take these 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever.
Okay, what
Let's
would
do
you
10
do?
breaths.
What would you do
I'd
right
be
now if I
like,
was like, if this
all
is
right,
one of
well,
those
we're just
videos?
going to meditate. Keep breathing with me and just kind of follow what I say. But just let your brain kind of, if thoughts come in, that's fine. Accept them, but just say that they can go and always try to come back to the breath. And I'll tell you to come back to the breath. I'll guide you through it, but also too, just in general, just kind of always be thinking about feeling this. And so we'll just breathe here. And that we could just do a simple meditative one like that. Let's just do it for 10 breaths. Okay. So we're just going to take 10 breaths and try and be totally. And when you breathe, I want you to breathe fully in, take it in your stomach, your chest, and almost your face. Like you can feel the oxygen coming in through your eyes. So take as much in as you can. And when we relax or when we breathe out, I don't want you to blow it out. I just want you to relax it out. Okay, so just let everything relax, everything melt, all your shoulder tension, every tension relaxes on every breath out. Okay, let's just do 10. Ready? Breathe in. Relax it out. And breathe in.
Out of my nose or mouth?
Doesn't matter, just as long as you're just like relaxing it out. So breathe in here and relax it out. Feel the breath going in and think about the breath coming out. So, and relax it out. Breathe in and relax it out. Feel all the circulation going from your fingertips and your toes everywhere on the breathe in. And relax it out. 3 more, big breaths. And relax it out. Think about how good the breath feels going in and out. 2 more. Big breath in. And relax it out. Big breath in. And relax it out. And just like sit in the relaxation. Now hold your breath here for as long as you can. Don't breathe in. Just let's sit here for a second. When you need to take a breath, go for it, but just hold it here as long as you can. Think about the heartbeat inside you and the things you're feeling inside. Forget about everything else. When you need to take a breath in, take a breath in.
Oh,
So
really,
like you just
really
held your breath there for like a minute without even thinking about it. And it's
Is that
because
how
we
long it was?
just like, well, it was a little
I did
less,
kind of
but
lose track of time though. I wasn't thinking about
yeah,
time at all.
yeah. And like you
I suppose
couldn't like
that's
in
the
your
secret.
normal day be like, hold your breath for a minute. You couldn't do that. But if you super oxygenate yourself and get it going, that's like kind of, those are some breathing technique. That's
That's
like the Wim Hof
it's
thing.
kind of a quasi high in a way. Like
It is. You almost like, and the holding the breath thing, like and I should I'll send you the links for this guy that does it. That's where he like has you hold the breath and he says you want to either be sitting down or laying down, and you don't want to be driving or anything like that, because you can get lightheaded and
A little like
like,
that, sure.
yeah, you can like black out basically. But it's like when you're in that state, and that when you're holding your breath, like that's where you're totally oxygenated. And he gets into like how it, like when you were talking about the brain cancer and him holding his breath and the way they were trying to do it, that's where this WIM guy talks about how it's, you start to regulate the hormones that are like that are from your brain stem and all this kind of stuff, because the oxygen is like reacting on it. And your fight or flight, your mental stuff, like when you get adrenaline, or you get, the
Mhm.
certain things that happen when your fight or flight happens, those take over. You start to regulate those kind of those hormones and those things, that so you can be in a stressful situation and not have like those, like, you know
You're in control.
like all that. Yeah, you're more in control. And you can, I mean, yeah, it's almost euphoric, dude. Like, there's no reason that everybody should just do that once a day. Like it's so good for you.
It's almost like
It's
it's
loving.
almost a training technique or something. It makes
Yeah,
me feel like
it
it's like it
makes you love yourself. Yeah,
makes you
yeah,
comfortable in your own skin. I mean,
yes,
because you're actually
and
spending
like,
time
yeah,
in your skin, maybe.
yeah, and your
It's
moment, you're present. For a minute there, we didn't think about our minds didn't like make us sad,
right.
like, or we weren't, or anxious or whatever. And you
Or
got to build off
self-conscious.
that.
That's one thing I always think about
Self-conscious,
too.
yeah.
Like self-consciousness. Like you want to have
Yeah.
self-awareness, right? It's like you don't want to be
Yes.
somebody who's spilling on themselves at a
Yes.
restaurant while they eat.
Yes.
That's self-awareness. But
Yes. Yeah.
it's a fine line between self-awareness and self-consciousness, which is like it's like a deterrent to productivity, right? Like if you're
Yes.
it's like when we sit down and put headphones on and
Completely.
a microphone, it's like if you're
Yep.
out of your body and self-conscious, you're not productive, you're not having a
No.
real
No.
conversation, you're hovering
Uh-uh.
above yourself. It's happened to me giving speeches, it's happened to me having
Yeah.
sex, it's happened to me.
Yeah.
And the second I become aware of myself in a space, like I'm not in my body, it affects my productivity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And
Dude,
so
I
if you
mean,
can
that's my biggest problem, is worrying about what other people think about me. Like, and I'm a performer. Like, I love being up on stage, and I love, like, I mean, yeah, I get nervous, and like I kind of fight it, beforehand, but like I love that shit. But like, the reason, I'm sitting on like a album right now of 5 songs. I've been sitting on it for 5 years because I haven't put it out, because I just kind of think the vocals are shitty.
mm,
But that's just like self-conscious. It's like me caring about what other people think about you. And that's like has been a driving force in my life, because, well, if you want to know the truth, my parents are like the most loving people of all time, but my dad was sarcastic. And he's my favorite person, best hero of all time. But like, sarcasm kills creativity and makes kids like self-conscious. Like, it's mean to be sarcastic with your kids. Like, my brother, he he was like, he always got in trouble. He was kind of a chubby kid with a lisp, and like kind of got in trouble. And he just like my parents were never mean, but like, there was always this kind of like butt of the joke, and
mm,
I never wanted to be the butt of the joke. I was always like this, like, tried to I always tried to be the perfect kid because of that. I didn't know it at the time,
mm.
but like, but my insecurity is deep, and it's because of sarcasm. It's really like the
How did you
craziest.
figure that out? Is that through therapy or
Oh
you just
man,
figured that out?
like, that's like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I just started to realize what sarcasm does in a situation. And how, like, if you're hanging out with your friends and you all want to like have a good time and like are laughing, if it's like, if the second someone takes it to a sarcastic level on somebody, it just kind of, that person might kind of laugh it off or whatever, but it just kind of ends, because it's in at the heart of it, sarcasm is picking out something about someone else and making light of it. You know what I mean? And
And
so,
acting like you're above it, by the way. You're acting
and
like you're
yeah,
above the
yeah, and
point.
being like, oh, you idiot, you're this way. But no matter how good a person can take it, there it's you just have those thoughts like at the, after the situation, I was like, maybe I am this way. Maybe that is me. Maybe I am, whatever it is. And, but if you are silly and creative in your funniness, you can have barrel roll laughters for hours.
Right.
When you're like making voices with some friends, or like you take on a character, or like some joke just makes you laugh and laugh and
Yeah.
laugh. It's like stupid, silly, creative, positive fun.
Well,
And the second you like,
there's a rule in improv that I'm sure there's more than one, but I've heard that one of the main rules of improv is you always go with the joke. If
yeah,
someone's spitting
yeah,
something out,
build, yeah,
you have to build, no matter whether you like it, you agree with
yeah,
it, no matter how
yeah.
outlandish it is. You act like it's absolutely true, and you build on it. Otherwise, it screeches to a halt. And sarcasm, you know,
It stifles
that's
creativity.
and it's
Yeah,
you know what it really is. It's insincerity.
yeah, it is.
You ever
Well,
talk to
it's
your dad about it?
yeah. Oh yeah, I've talked to yeah. Yeah. 10 years ago, I started talking to him about it because just because he married a sweetheart that doesn't get the joke. My mom has not got the joke for like 45 years, and like I'm just like, dude, Setz, you gotta quit like being sarcastic with her, okay? She doesn't get
You
it.
call him
Like,
you call him sets.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Big Setz.
Is
And
she trying to get the joke? I mean, does she think she gets the joke? Like what
well,
state of
she
mind is
does,
she in?
but she's just a sweetheart of a
Mhm.
mom. Like she never understands. She's always just like, huh? When we're it's sarcastic, like making like saying something, or just like giving her saying something that's not really happening, but that's happening, and she doesn't get that we're messing with her,
Mhm.
and it's just like it just falls dead on her,
Yeah.
So, and that's actually how I learned about sarcasm, is because I had a girlfriend who um she didn't get sarcasm at all, and so I would be sarcastic with her,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden, like, it was just silence. And I felt like a total dick. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say
this is from me
I
being
feel like
sarcastic my whole life.
you're one of the best sarcastic joke guys I think maybe I've ever met. I mean, that's
Well,
what's
I
one of my
appreciate
earliest
it.
memories of you
Well,
is
and my dry humor, I was like, it's dry humor, but I'm not
yeah.
sarcastic anymore. I
Okay.
really am not. I can count this many times in the past year that I've
Consciously
been
try not to be.
sarcastic. Try not to be. I totally try not to be. I choose to talk to people and try to just get them telling their stories. I choose to always just put people up and try to always do that because yeah, it's like because I just want
By
to
the way,
be
I agree with
yeah,
you 100%. And
yeah,
I was
yeah,
raised by an extremely sarcastic dad, and
yeah,
sarcasm might be my
yeah,
superpower, and I'm not proud of it, especially as a dad now.
yeah,
There's nothing worse than like shooting down the innocence of my kids when they see
yeah.
something you think,
Gotta not do it. Yeah, it's like
but
it's terrible,
it's a
man.
defense mechanism, though, is what it is. It
Well,
keeps me
yeah,
from having to have a real situation. It
yeah,
keeps my dad from having to have a real conversation.
yeah.
It separates
And
him
but
from the realness of a moment.
well, and dude, it's the easier joke because
The
it's
easy it.
negative. You don't have to do any have to, yeah, it's the
Yes.
easiest joke. To be creative and be
Right.
positive and like be something silly that like takes the situation and like exaggerates some kind of positive thing,
Yeah.
like that's harder. So
Mm.
yeah, it's easy, and
Yeah.
like and I have like most of my buddies, their dads are all like super
I think
sarcastic,
it's a generational thing. I think,
and then their dads were even worse.
yeah.
I think.
Well,
I really think.
I think
I think.
their dads may have just been like emotionally absent, and the
Yeah.
sarcasm was a way of
Yeah.
dealing with that
Yeah. For
because that
sure.
kept them
Yeah.
from having to process the
Yeah.
fact that their dads just frankly weren't even present.
Yeah.
And so they became superheroes at being sarcastic. And so then
Yeah.
it trickled down to us.
Trickle down. Yeah. But
But now
honestly,
it's
though,
all
like
there.
it breaks my heart when I see like when I see parents, like especially to like a 5-year-old kid, and then you're sarcastic with them, but to a kid,
Yeah, a nice shirt, kid. No, seriously, nice shirt. No, that's a great
yeah,
sweet shirt. No, it's
yeah,
awesome. Oh, fucking
and
nailing it with that
but
shirt, kid.
it's the meanest thing.
It
Like
really.
it really is because it's like to the kid, all it is the person that is the most important. There's their whole life is making fun of them,
Yeah.
and so Like that's where your insecurity is from. That's where mine is from.
Plus,
Like
it
that's
conveys the issue. It conveys the idea that you're just too cool for the situation, when you're actually the
right.
opposite. You're actually the opposite. Like when I'm acting like when I'm
Yeah.
sarcastic, I'm giving off the idea that I'm above this shit. When really I'm probably either not understanding it,
Yeah.
or intimidated by it,
Yep.
or uninformed on it. And so my way
Hmm.
of having to deal with those three potential things is to act like
Hmm.
fuck
Yeah.
off. That's basically what I'm saying is
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
off.
Well, and and people like, and you always, when I started not accepting sarcasm or just like not doing it, like you always just hear, I mean, I'm just joking, dude. It's just a joke. Can't you take a joke?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, yeah, I can take a joke. I want, like I want to, it's kind of weird, like I think sarcasm is only cool amongst your boys at the bar. That's the only time it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably
When
right.
it's
I remember when I
because
did,
when it's with your family, like people you love, like it shouldn't be like with your spouse. Like I mean, yeah, if you're both really sarcastic, it's cool to do it, but like if you do that on a daily basis, like it's there's just a better option. And it
you're not
actually like
connecting as
makes
much as you
people
can. That's for sure.
it's
You're not,
negative energy. It's
and it
negative
doesn't build a
energy.
connect. It doesn't build a connection. I think there's a time and place for it if you're both on the same wavelength. But as an
Yeah.
overall, just like constant,
Yeah.
it's pretty detrimental to building a relationship. You're not going to build a
Yeah,
real one.
dude. Wow. And
It's
like you said, you're not, and you're gonna stay surface with yourself too. Like,
it's one of the things I love about dogs. It's like I actually
yeah.
had a Christmas card I put out one year with little one-liners about each person in the card, and the thing I said about my dog is he went the whole year without being sarcastic.
Yeah.
and and it was like, yeah, he's just sincere as fuck no matter what.
Yeah.
And like I was like, God, that's one thing I love about him. He's never turning a joke back around on me and making me feel stupid about it.
No, he's well, that's what I keep saying to people. I'm like, listen, man, like spoil your dogs and be sarcastic with your dogs because like get it out with them. Just
Mm.
don't do it with your kids. Like, spoil the dogs and train the kids is what I say.
Yeah, but
Like don't do it the other way around.
you would never fake throw a bone to your dog, and if you did, you'd feel so fucking bad after the first fake throw. You know what I mean? Like I've done that, and I'm like,
You've never
I'm a
fake thrown a
dick.
bone?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do, but
Yeah.
that's me being
Yeah.
sarcastic to my dog, and I'm like, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Like he sincerely
Yeah.
goes and looks for it, and
I
I'm like, oh,
know.
I'm sorry, buddy. God, dude, I'm an asshole. Like,
What happens when you do that to your kid though? Do you like fake throw the ball on your kid?
no, I don't. I try not to, but I do. I do it in conversation. I mean, and I feel
Well,
terrible
yeah, some way you're fake throwing the
because
ball.
they come
Yeah.
out so sincere, and
Yeah.
it's like, and I condition
Yeah.
them to not be. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a secret poison, I think, and I, like I said, I grew up with it, and I love being in like with my guys and being sarcastic with each other on the golf course and shit like that, like I love
so
it.
over the holidays,
But
when
I
you go
just
home for Thanksgiving and see your dad, is he still that way? Not knowing what you think of it, is he still that way? Is it just ingrained in him, or does he
oh
try not to?
they try not to be.
Really?
They're like, yeah, he tries not to be. And I mean, to be real, like, my mom just can't really take it anymore. Like it's like, it's, I mean, she's sad, like in other stuff, and just like it's like just be more kind and more loving.
Yeah.
She's having a tough time, so it's like a big thing, and he's really done like done work and tried to, I mean, we're talking from a guy who loves to joke with everybody. I mean, he
Yeah.
lives for it. He lives for it.
What
And
you
it's all good.
was your dad a Viking? I feel like I heard that along the way.
Yeah.
He played football,
Yeah,
right?
well, he got
Oh,
drafted by the 49ers he was at St. John's up in Collegeville up there, so he's D3. He
okay.
got drafted. That's because he was like 6'4", 230, and could
Oh, he's
run
a big
like a
guy.
he was like a 4.6 40 or something like that. So
What
he was
position did he
fast,
play?
and he was D end.
Okay.
So then he Made the last cut day at the 49ers, and then he went and played for the New York Stars, which was like the USFL back then.
Oh, no
There
shit.
was like a league, yeah. There was like the Charlotte Hornets, New York Stars. It was like a 10-person league or 10-team league.
I never even heard of that.
And
That was
yeah,
USFL? I feel like I know the
no, no,
USFL.
no.
Oh.
It's called World Football League, but it was
Oh.
like a US. It was like
Oh
it
shit.
was like the Canadian
What year would
football
that
or
have been?
whatever. 72.
Okay.
I think it was only for a few years in the early 70s for the World
Wow.
Football League. So he did that for a year. Then he came to Minnesota and tried out with them, and he was going to make the team. And then, like, I think the story was 3 safeties got hurt, and so he came down to him and Bob Lertzema, and they kept Lertzema.
Fuck
So my
Lord.
dad he was gonna be backing up like the
Bench warmer Bob.
Purple People Eaters.
So he probably had friends on those teams. He knew those guys a little bit, maybe, huh?
He did well. His friends were from that World Football League. You know, the other guys he just tried out with, you know, for a
Okay.
couple weeks. But the other, you know, he played with dudes and like, well, the only friends I ever knew from the football was from the World Football League.
Was he from Minnesota originally?
From Minnesota, Osseo.
He was?
And
Okay.
yep. And then and then the second year after he didn't make the Vikings, he went back to World Football League, and his own teammate, there was like a exhibition game or something, blew my dad's knee out, like the helmet to the side of the knee, and they went in and put like 40 staples in his leg, and that was it.
Oh.
They just, you know, they didn't have any knee surgeries back then, and that was it. So he walked with a bow-legged limp like my whole life, and then he just got a knee replacement in the last like 10 years, and so now he's walking upright. It's weird.
Oh, really? Feels great now?
Yeah. Well, he just like I mean, he's standing tall. Like, I mean, I knew him like this, like
Oh,
my
wow.
whole life, you know, like.
Does he have any of that,
giant.
any CTE shit or any of that?
What's that?
Any of that chronic, whatever that brain, all that brain stuff that all those ex-NFL guys seem to have?
I don't think so.
He
No,
didn't play long enough. That's
yeah,
good.
he didn't. Yeah, well, or he just never got concussions or whatever. I mean, he was like
I mean, it was a
at
violent
St.
game
John's.
back then, dude. Holy shit.
Well, and he was like a St. John's. He was like a everything player, but he like was nose guard.
Oh, wow.
Like they put him in nose guard. He was in Gallardi's book, and he was like in he dedicated a whole chapter. One of Gallardi's books dedicated a whole chapter to my dad.
Oh, really?
Called him a blue chip player.
Okay.
You know, because he was like epitomized the attitude and the work ethic that you want in a player.
That's pretty cool.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew Gallardi pretty well, right? Obviously.
Oh yeah. He would always go and he'd get up for a game or two a year, and he would always go visit Gallardi for sure. Well, yeah, and I mean, you know, my dad there's only a handful of guys that probably got drafted, you know, out of John's whole career. So
Out of Division III.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's cool, man.
Big Setz, yeah.
You lived an interesting life, dude. You have. You're still living an interesting life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Do you see yourself staying in Nashville for a while?
No, I actually think I'm kind of getting the bug to come back and be around the family again. Just
That'd be cool.
Because my parents are, you know, they're turning 70 this year, and my brother, he's living out in Inver Grove, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting the bug to go back. So
Are you locked into a lease there or anything like that, or you can come and go as you please?
Not at all. Yeah, no. My buddy kept this place, and he was renting it but not living here. So I came in and took over and sublease. Yeah, so that's perfect.
Can't be hard to come back here and give up all that space that you have there.
Well, you know, it is, but I'm finding that I'm not a guy that likes to be alone.
Oh, really? See, I would have thought it's the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, you know, no.
I suppose with COVID and stuff,
interaction.
You've been out of work, obviously.
Yeah, that's made it tough for me, like, because I'm used to going to talking to 30 people a day.
Right.
You know.
So no work at all? What's the situation in Tennessee? Is it still lockdown on restaurants?
It's just starting to open up where you can have half capacity or whatever.
Does that mean you're working?
I'm starting to go back, but my work is being D-holes and just like screwing up everything, like just not being cool and like kind of breaking rules. And I was the only one wearing a mask in there, like for Like I came like 2 weeks ago. I had taken a couple weeks off because I worked for my buddy doing manual labor for him. Came back and like they were just doing, it was like 6 to-go people and 4 cooks and whatever and 2 managers, and none of them had masks on. And I was like, I came in with a mask on, and I wasn't even like really like going to grocery stores and stuff wearing a mask, but I was like, if I'm gonna serve tables,
They
I'm
probably
gonna
want
wear
you
a
to have,
mask.
for their sake.
Well, yeah, but just for my like, yeah, just for my sake, but also like because I'm serving these people, and I want them to know that like I'm not trying to spread whatever this thing is, you know.
Yeah.
And I said something to my manager, and they were like, I said, and I didn't come at them like, hey, you're doing wrong. I did not. I came at them like this. I was like, hey, listen, man, I think you're missing a huge customer service opportunity here. Well, we have to be under these quarantines by not having everybody in here wearing face masks and running food out to people's cars with the face masks,
Mm.
because it's a hospitality industry. It's, like being more kind and overly cautious is a good thing. And he was like, he said, and I was like, God, I'm not even gonna argue with this guy. It's like, well, we've talked about it company wide, and we just really feel like the masks um, make it look like to people that we're sick. And I was like, I'm not even gonna like try and get into this with this guy.
Well, also, it's probably, I mean, he probably should ask around and see what they think instead of just making that
Well,
assumption.
that's what I'm
And
thinking
he might
because,
be right, but if he's just guessing, that's kind of stupid.
well, and that to me is just like they're trying to make money and they're scared. They're running and trying to, save their business. I get it, and they want to like make the place as inviting as possible. But that's my whole point, is that if you would have owned the masks and made like in Sam's Place masks, and like made cool ones and had everybody doing it, all the people would have sang your praises and just talked about how
Yeah, marketing.
kind you are
Marketing.
and how courteous you are during these times. And like the 3 or 4 old guys that come in here, like that don't give a shit about whatever, that you
Mhm.
think that that's your customers. They were thinking about their customers mentality before COVID. They weren't thinking about now, because people are scared. Like I was running food out to people with the clipboard and the pen and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, um, every time I'd hand the clipboard to the person, they'd be apprehensive. They're like, and I'd be like, hey, we spray these down after every use. And that was like almost 100% of the people I brought stuff out to,
Right.
you know? And then once I said, hey, we spray the pens down in this, they were like, oh, that people
Isn't
were
it
grabbing
interesting?
these.
We're
Yep.
starting to view other people as like balls of germs. It's a weird,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
from a sociology
Yeah.
perspective, it's fucking, it's crazy how quickly other people look like the enemy just for being people.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucked.
Well, walking around in a store or whatever, and like you're just like sliding
I know.
opposite apart. You want to like
Oh
be
man.
away from the person. It's so weird. It's like everybody worried about the hands. Oh, did the server, the people washing their hands, or oh, did that cashier like touch their face and like touch a bunch of money and lick their hand and give me change back or whatever. But now it's hands and our breath. Like so it's
Yep.
like now
It's
everybody's on a
bizarre.
high.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
like
really
everybody wants to
is.
be in a bubble or something. I mean, it's sort of anti
Yeah,
what it's anti what we are, but we're
yeah,
very quickly becoming comfortable with the idea of seeing our neighbor as like a pathogen or something.
potential. Yeah, 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 for sure.
It's fucked.
I mean, that's an invisible virus. Yeah, but you're thinking, yeah, that person he's the holder of
Yep.
the small,
Yeah,
the
and it
aerosol
happened
that's
like
gonna
that.
make you sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're pretty much in solitude out there. I mean, are you
pretty
seeing
much. I
people?
mean,
A handful of
well,
people.
I mean, I'm going to the store, but like other than that, I see the people on the farm. I probably see like 4 or 5 people.
But that's
You
very
know,
little. I mean, that's not a lot.
yeah.
It's not like New York City where you're passing strangers all the time or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so crazy. Like I just that there's just the whole state of the world. I mean, everybody's that way, like you're talking about, but then it's like all this stuff. It's like the information. There's no way to like think any of. How could you possibly believe any of the numbers, or how could you? I just don't know how to believe
I
any
don't know
of it.
what to
Like,
believe. I don't know what to believe.
yeah,
I really
like
don't.
No, I have no idea. Like, there's too much motivation for governments to not put out the right numbers. There's, like, or even businesses, like,
They always have a
like,
secondary agenda. Nobody's
have
agenda
we,
is to give you the truth. That's nobody's
no,
agenda. The
have we
truth is
heard of,
nobody's agenda.
yeah, no,
It's
no, it's not. It's not. I mean,
it's not
maybe like
anybody's first
A
agenda.
Bernie Sanders was like a truth kind of agenda guy. Like,
Maybe,
he was like talking some truth, but like,
maybe, but
we're
maybe,
talking overall here, Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I just feel like
We haven't heard any Home Depot sicknesses. We haven't heard any grocery store sick. All these businesses, you don't think those
right,
businesses are keeping those sick cases quiet?
I suppose
You
they
better
would.
believe they are.
They have all the incentive in the world to do that.
Yeah, and the governments, like, it looks like what China still just has like 5,000 deaths, and that's all that happened, right? Isn't that kind of the
Yeah,
last
China,
chart I looked at or something? Like, I don't
I
know.
think it's safe to say
Seems
China's a
crazy to
bit of a
me.
wild card when it comes to stats.
Well,
They're a bit of a
yeah,
wild card.
yeah, that's true. I know it's true, but but we can't. I mean, you can't test everybody or have a lot of tests that like are big enough sample size to kind of say, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what to believe.
I don't know what to
I
believe
don't,
either. I mean, I have a feeling
it's
that the
like,
mortality rates are much lower, that the number of people who have it is much higher. Um,
yeah,
I, I don't know.
yeah,
I know that I, you, you talk about it affecting old people in terms of deaths. I worry about my kids
yeah,
psychologically. The idea that
yeah.
people walk around with masks and like my 6-year-old is very in tune with
That's
the
a good
world.
point. Yeah,
It's
that's a good
like
point.
he's in these formative years of trying to understand what this fucking place is, and it's
Yeah,
like it's so much fear in the air. It's like
yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, like, that's actually it's going to affect him the rest of his life on some subconscious level, and
yeah,
so it's layered. It's super layered.
yeah. I mean, like, you're totally right. You can't. It's just such a hard concept to grasp. Like, I think about it, like, I try to just go with like the big things. Like, there's no way our government would have wanted us to go under quarantine and stop these businesses because they want us to be like working. They want us to, like, I mean, I would think
Want us to
for like,
generate? Yeah, I
it's
think
it's an election year, like, unless there's some kind of, you know, some kind of conspiracy theory with, like, the real people who rule the world kind of thing, that they're doing this for some weirdo reason.
there's
But
people that
like,
think maybe they want. There's people on the far left that want us to be government dependent. So
yeah,
if they put you in a position to be out of work, then what do you need?
yeah,
You need handouts. And I mean, again, it's like you got to believe that there are people in really high positions of power who have a lot of influence, even over the politicians. I mean, everybody wants to
yeah,
blame the politicians. If this is going on, it's the people
yeah,
funding the politicians that are making these
yeah.
decisions. But it's
But I,
it's
what I'm saying is, like, just the fact that we're in quarantine, like, that just shows me that I don't know how serious this disease is, or how fast it spreads or whatever, just as much as the other guy does. And
right.
anybody who claims to really know, like, you don't
Don't
fucking
know.
know.
I don't think the
I mean,
experts know. I
and
know
so
the
that, yeah,
experts don't know. So I know social media guy doesn't know for sure. The
yeah, oh
experts
my
have no
God,
fucking
yeah.
clue. By the way,
And
I'm one of
that's
those
what I
social
said.
media guys. So.
Well, yeah, but I just go with, like, we're in quarantine probably for a pretty decent reason. So this thing is probably pretty something that we should just kind of take seriously. And that's it. I mean, I don't know, there should be no more discussion,
I know this. There's
you know.
opportunity here. I mean, if you're somebody who wants to put out videos to
Oh
inspire
yeah.
people
Oh
or do
God.
any kind of content,
Oh my God.
people are consuming digital content like
Like
I mean,
10
we were already
times.
doing it,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like 10x. That's a
Yeah.
great time. It's a great time to be entrepreneurial about it.
Yeah. Totally is. It's like, yeah, people are in their phones, dude. It's like, and the
What's
stuff
your
that I
time?
want to promote is positivity and stuff. Yeah.
What's your timeline for coming back here if you do? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I mean, probably within the month or two.
Oh, moving back here within a month or two?
Yeah, like, dude, I don't have anything out here. I mean, like, I
Would you have to line up
seriously
work
have a couple
before you?
car fulls. What's that?
Would you have to line up some work before you came home, or could you come hang for a little bit and just figure it out?
Um, I mean, I kind of always have like extra jobs going, so I'm good right now. But yeah,
All right. What was
yeah. So, but I mean, I don't worry about it. I mean, I would come home and I'd work for, I'd get on a lawn crew or some shit like that if I needed to, or go work with my boy Jay and
I know
just
Jay.
tear. I know Jay, and tear down a bunch of walls or some shit and
I love Jay.
whatever.
Guy's
I know.
awesome. Fucking
Yeah, I love Jay
hilarious.
too.
I
Yeah, he
still,
really is.
you, Jay and Giebs, when you guys came out to Madison, I don't know what it must have been. It must have been like around 99-ish. Would it have been 99, 98-ish, somewhere in there? You
Yeah,
guys must have.
97, 98,
That would
99. Yeah,
okay,
too.
okay.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, yeah,
Dude,
it was sophomore, junior year. So
there was some. I still remember. I don't know that I'd ever seen South Park. I must have seen it by then. But you guys all did impressions of all the South Park characters. You had. I think you
did.
Okay, was that Giebs? I
Giebs
felt
had
like
them all.
in my memory, you guys all did.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome. Thanks.
and then also you.
I got some of those.
You're welcome. And I feel like you introduced me to the Will Ferrell greatest hits DVD, the SNL. I don't think I'd ever seen
Yes. Yeah.
because you did
That sounds like
the
us
Neil
back
Diamond.
then. Yeah. There was the Neil Diamond. We had
And you
we
were
had a
so into
video.
it.
Yeah, we made you watch it probably 20 times in a row
And
because
then I was
it
the guy who
just
made all
killed
my
us.
friends. Yeah, there was like a
Yeah,
trickle down of.
that VHS tape was stolen by the one roommate that was like the weirdo that was like the liar that would like charge us more for the bills and didn't pay anything on the electric, and he stole that. He stole that. I can't find that clip. Like there's the like the Neil Diamond, Will Ferrell doing Neil Diamond on Will Ferrell's like 20, SNL special thing, but it's not that clip. There's a different one,
You
and
can
I
find it
can't
on
find
YouTube.
it.
You can't find it on
I would
YouTube.
think, but it's been a minute since I've looked for it. Maybe it's out there now. So
yeah, I had never seen it, and I remember it was like you were promoting it,
that's
and
so funny.
I was the guy who like made everybody watch it after that. I passed it along.
That's awesome. If I remember those, I was just talking about my time like last week at Wisconsin because I think we went out there probably like 6, 7 times in a couple of years, and we partied with all you guys, whatever. And I remember the one night, the one thing that's most memorable is one night we could not figure out who sang "I Finally Found the Love of a Lifetime."
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know if you were with us that night.
I don't
But
remember
the
that.
entire night, and this
But it
is the
sounds like
sign of the
something you would
times.
do. Spend the entire night.
But then the entire night, we went up to everybody
You
at
couldn't
all
Google
the
it.
tables, at all the bars. We couldn't Google it.
It was before
So
Google.
like our entire night was spent this way. And actually, we didn't know the name of the song. We said, I think it was like, because
I know
it's
who it is.
Firehouse. Firehouse.
Oh yeah,
It's
it is Firehouse.
Firehouse. And so I think we know. We're like, what's the song by Firehouse? And nobody knew it. And then there was this like street guy that was like, he looked like a shaman kind of dude, like sitting, had a bunch of like blankets and stuff, and it was like he was messing with the people out on your main strip there or whatever. And and we like went up to him and was like, hey, do you know about this? And he said yes. And then he like for a half hour made us sit through all of his bullshit poetry and like all, and we were wasted, so we're like, just tell us, just tell us. And then finally at the end of it, he's like this, and he just, I finally found the love of a lifetime. Like he sang it.
That's a great song.
But like that is, yeah.
You guys all sing it together?
Power ballads. Oh, we started to, yeah, for sure. But like
Firehouse was one of the last bands before Nirvana came in and just fucking nuclear. Yeah, they nuclear bombed that whole landscape.
Yeah.
Overnight.
No more power ballads.
No, it was over. It was so cheesy and uncool. As soon as Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, it was the end of it.
So,
but Firehouse was right there. They were just about to like get big.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. They had like a year or two there where they were probably just getting on the big tours, and then all of a sudden crash.
Did they have another song like "Don't Treat Me Bad"? No, who was "Don't Treat Me Bad"?
They do.
Who's that? No, is that Firehouse?
Don't treat me bad.
Yeah, there it is.
The times I ever had.
I was hoping we could get your singing voice in a little bit.
Shit. I don't know that song that well. Don't Treat Me Bad. It could be Firehouse, but I want to say it's somebody else.
Yeah, you might be right. Anyway, Nirvana ruined it all.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Well, listen, dude, when you come back in town, let's talk, because I don't know, Breathing and Stretching as a podcast. The thing about it is, I want it to be something you want to do. Like like if you listen to like morning radio now, like terrestrial radio, if you're in the car in the morning, or even like local news at night, it's like they have to fill a half hour, or they have to fill a morning 2 hours, and the content sucks. Like I have no desire to create something where you feel like you got to fill an hour, or you have to do 3 shows a week. Like, to me, that's an old format and a whole old mindset. I want to do something where the content creators create when they feel like it. No different than a Facebook post. You don't, or a TikTok. You don't post something because it's Tuesday night and at 6 o'clock people expect a TikTok. You post something because you're fucking inspired to post something. And I think that's the way all content, even commoditized, media, should be organized now. And I want to set something up where somehow we work together, but you don't feel like you got to do an hour from 6 to 7 or do anything like that. But I think it'd be cool to do a fucking pod called Breathing and Stretching, and maybe you have people on that inspire you, or people on that agree, have your similar perspective, or something. Like, to me, there's something there.
And you want to help me do it, or like,
I don't know,
you want to be in it?
I don't know.
Whatever?
I don't know. I think I want you to be. So I want Slab to be like a content creation company. Okay, this is just me dipping my toe in the water, and if I could draw it out perfectly, like, I don't know, maybe we co-create it, or maybe I can.
Let's do this.
I can sell ads against it or something. I don't know.
Let's do both. Let's do you and me doing this. Let's just. I mean, we don't have to say we're going to do it once a week or whatever, but let's just try and do this. Like, we'll try and get to like 5 or 6 of these.
Okay.
And just for the pure idea of just creating content, like, I mean, fuck, dude, we had great content tonight, like, and we didn't even try about anything, like, I mean, we talked a lot about me. We didn't even talk about you, like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm with
but let's just do that. Let's just do it as an exercise, because we just got to put the shit, get it going.
Yeah, and let it kind of go where it goes.
Yeah, but just content, and then, but also too, let's talk next week, or later this week or whatever. I would like to do a podcast on my shit about that.
Yeah, I think
even if it's only 5 episodes and I never do it again, like, I should do that.
And it can be it could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour, it can be whatever. I think it could just be what it is at that time. It's kind of like being in the moment. It's the same general idea, whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Are you gonna edit like this?
That's not my
plan. Edited stuff? Have you edited before?
So when I recorded these, I've pulled clips of 30 seconds, and on a couple of them I threw subtitles in, because I know people don't always listen with sound on, and I've put like an interesting clip on social media as a tease, but I haven't put any full recordings on iTunes as a podcast or anything. So,
well, I mean, because if you're putting clips, you're basically just, because that's all it would be, is like taking clips of us, cutting it up, and you could do it however you want. You could cut it up as much as you want, but just put some music on at the beginning and the end.
And I've done that. I've created an intro, and I've created a graphic, and I've got all the pieces there. I just haven't figured out if I just want to lay it out there as a pod yet, or I might just wait till I have like 10 of them, so that if people do like it, they can listen to 2 more instead of just waiting for the next one. But I'm definitely going to take maybe like a 40-second clip of the most interesting shit you said, and post it if you're cool with that.
Oh yeah, by far.
And it'll act as a little tease, I think, for whatever it ends up being.
I'd like the recording too, for the first half, I just like videoed myself doing it, whatever, but I would like the recording too, because like I said, I want to put content out there, and I'm going to try to start doing stuff on my YouTube channel that's going to be straight up me giving tutorial kind of thing, but also to a lot of just music videos with just subtitles, just a ton of subtitle videos, because it's the smartest thing to do for podcasts or any video channels, because people just will sit there and read it while they're listening to it.
For sure. And I think you could, I think you could still leverage your name a little bit. I mean, I know that most of the people probably remember you from MTV
Yeah,
are our age, but I think there's still something there that you could leverage. I mean, unless
probably.
you hated that idea, but I mean, there's a way of still leveraging that somehow.
I mean, I'm not above like using all that for sure. I'm just really into like just starting to put the content out there and not judging it and just getting more stuff out there
Okay.
because the you know yeah, I don't know. It's like I'll send you. I gotta send you Gary V's stuff, and I gotta send you Wim
Yeah, do
Hof.
that. Do that.
Um, but it's his like Gary V's whole mentality is that whole just like
Well, I like the
instead of
authenticity.
being instead total authenticity, all about
Hmm.
happiness and kindness. Do what makes you happy,
Yeah.
and if you
And
have
by
that
the way, live it.
entrepreneurial spirit,
Live what you're
live it.
saying.
Yeah,
Oh,
do
yeah.
it. Do it. He's all about oxygen or oxygen. He's all about action. And like, he's talking about instead of being the worker bee and working all the time and bringing home the honey, like you be the queen bee and like make everybody come to your honey. Like, and the honey is the content.
Okay.
Is just start telling your story, start getting it out there in all the different ways and put the effort and the work in, and then people will latch onto you because you're being real. And like,
I
I
like
mean,
it.
yeah, I mean, I could use my name, or I could put a blurb that
Maybe to
says,
open the
used
door.
to be on MTV,
Yeah, and I don't
whatever.
even
that
mean that
that
overtly.
that might get like, that might give me a few followers and that might get me a few likes and whatever,
Might get you a
but
promotional interview or something. People wanting to ask you
yeah,
about.
definitely. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. But I think
All right. Well, let me
yeah,
know. I'll reach back out to you. But when you get in town, for sure, let's meet up if we're allowed to meet up
yeah.
by then. If we're not all still in
Well,
lockdown and what.
let's I don't know, let's do this next no, I don't know, let's do this in a week and just
Okay.
shoot for that, and if whatever,
Cool,
next
man.
Saturday, try it.
Works for me.
Man, this was awesome. Thanks, dude. Thanks
Yeah, it
for
was fun. I enjoyed this.
coming up with the idea, dude. Oh, hell yeah. I didn't even drink my beer while I was doing it.
No,
I
you
just
didn't. I had 2 Guinness. It was good to see you, though.
Yeah, you too, buddy. This is awesome.
All right.
Helps me being out on the farm here by myself.
Yeah. What do you? So
But
what do you do the rest of the night? You just done? You shut this thing off and hang out and watch Netflix, or what? There's nothing you can do.
no, I'll have a beer and I'll smoke something and probably just jam on guitar.
All right.
I got
Maybe next
like I
time.
said,
Will you play next time?
oh fuck yeah, I'll play anytime.
Yeah, I'd like to hear
I
it.
got like I said, I got a 5-song EP that I want to release here. I'm gonna release it June 1st,
Okay.
and I'll send you the link for the video that we got with it. You'll like it. It's called
Okay.
Living It Up. That's all about being happy with what you got.
Cool, man. I would
Yeah.
love that.
Oh yeah.
All right. That's a good tease. That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, buddy. Well, hey, have a great night, and yeah, let's just do this next Saturday, and if this week we got to change the date or whatever, but let's just try it.
Good to me.
All
All right,
right,
dude.
buddy. Have a good
Good
night.
chat, man. I enjoyed it.
Later.
Slab Content Company.